Admiral Zarek of the Galactic Confederation stands triumphant on the bridge of his flagship, the Inevitable Conquest. The massive vessel's viewports frame the blue-green jewel of Earth against the blackness of space. Zarek's compound eyes reflect the flashes of light as Earth's orbital defenses crumble under his fleet's superior firepower. Target their primary communications array, Zarek orders, his translator converting his clicking speech into the standard galactic tongue. I want them isolated before we begin planetary bombardment. Lieutenant Vexera manipulates the tactical display with practiced efficiency. The humans are attempting to rally their defense satellites into a new configuration, Admiral. Their coordination is surprisingly effective for such a primitive species. Zarek dismisses the observation with a casual wave of his upper appendage. Their technology is barely 2 centuries old. Our intelligence reports confirm they possess no significant space-based military assets. This resistance is merely the final twitching of a dying prey. Across the command deck, analysts monitor Earth's desperate transmissions. The Confederation's linguists had long since cracked the planet's communication encryption. The humans' panicked messages only confirm what Zarek already knows. They are outmatched and unprepared. Admiral. His second-in-command Tralvik approaches with a data tablet. High Command sends congratulations on your efficient conquest. They are particularly pleased with the minimal damage to the planet's biosphere. Earth's water resources alone will sustain our colony efforts for decades. Zarek's mandibles click in satisfaction as tactical displays show another wave of human satellites and defensive platforms disintegrating under precisely targeted energy beams. Prepare the occupation announcement, he orders, antennae twitching with anticipation. These primitives barely managed to reach their own moon before we found them. 5 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean's surface, Commander Sarah Chen sits in the command chair of the EDS Leviathan, Earth's largest underwater dreadnought. The command center hums with quiet efficiency, illuminated by the blue glow of holographic displays. Unlike the cramped conditions of traditional naval vessels, the Leviathan's command deck spans 3 levels, with transparent structural supports creating an open cathedral-like space designed for 3-dimensional strategic thinking. Chen watches the Confederation's systematic destruction of Earth's deliberately sacrificial orbital defenses on the main view screen. 70 years of careful planning had led to this moment. While publicly maintaining a modest space program, Earth had secretly dedicated the majority of its resources to a massive subsurface navy, hundreds of enormous dreadnoughts hidden in underwater bases across the planet's oceans. Status report on the Confederation fleet deployment, Chen requests, her calm voice belying the tension of the moment. Lieutenant Commander Riza Dalir, her tactical officer, responds immediately. They've followed the predicted pattern exactly, Commander. Their vessels are now distributed in optimal formation to engage our surface defenses. They've positioned 97% of their fleet within our engagement envelope. And our stealth systems, holding perfectly. Their sensors continue to be blocked by the natural electromagnetic interference of the oceanic thermal layers. The saline shield generators are functioning at 100% efficiency. Commander Chen allows herself a slight smile. They took the bait, she says, looking around at her crew. The best of Earth's combined naval forces. All vessels, prepare for Operation Poseidon. Surface protocol in 30 minutes. She opens a secure channel to Earth's Unified Defense Command. This is Commander Chen. The Confederation forces have committed fully. Request permission to execute Leviathan Protocol. The response comes from the underwater command bunker beneath the Marianas Trench. Permission granted, Commander. The future of humanity rests with you and your fleet. Godspeed. Chen turns to her communications officer. Signal all Earth Defense Force vessels. Operation Poseidon is now active. Throughout the planet's oceans, 300 massive warships receive the coded transmission. Engine rooms surge with activity as massive fusion reactors power up. Weapon systems cycle through final diagnostics. Launch bays prepare aquatic-to-space transition craft. Humanity's true defense force prepares to reveal itself to the stars. Zarek reclines in his command chair, reviewing congratulatory messages from Confederation High Command on his personal data tablet. The operation had proceeded with textbook precision. Earth's orbital defenses had been neutralized with minimal Confederation casualties, and planetary invasion protocols were already underway. Landing craft were being prepared in the lower hangar bays of his support vessels. A mere 2 standard rotations to secure a Class 3 aquatic world. He muses to his executive officer. That must be some kind of record. Your efficiency will be noted in the historical archives. Admiral. Trelvik responds with appropriate deference. The resource extraction teams are particularly eager to begin operations on the polar ice caps. The conversation halts when the censor officer, a young female named Krelta, interrupts with uncharacteristic urgency in her voice. Admiral, we're detecting massive energy signatures emerging from the planet's oceans. Zarek flicks his antennae in annoyance at the interruption. Likely underwater detonations, the humans destroying their own research facilities rather than letting us capture them. A regrettable waste of resources, but not unexpected from a species facing their first extraterrestrial contact. Krelta's appendages move rapidly across her console, correlating data from multiple sensor arrays. Sir, with respect, these signatures are moving and rising. Multiple locations simultaneously. Atlantic Quadrant, Pacific Quadrant, Indian Ocean region, all showing similar anomalies. Zarek's irritation shifts to curiosity. He stands, moving to the tactical display. Show me. The holographic projection of Earth rotates slowly, now marked with hundreds of pulsing red indicators across all major oceanic regions. The energy signatures are massive, far larger than anything their intelligence had attributed to human technological capabilities. Magnify visual feeds from orbital surveillance, Zarek orders. The display shifts to real-time footage from their fleet's monitoring satellites. What Zarek sees sends a chill through his exoskeleton. Throughout Earth's oceans, the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Arctic, the waters begin to churn and swell. Enormous circular disturbances appear on the ocean surfaces, some spanning hundreds of meters in diameter. Then, like technological leviathans breaching from the deep, massive metal structures begin to emerge. First come the weapons arrays, sleek, glistening with seawater, and unmistakably advanced. Then communication towers and sensor domes. Finally, the full hulls of warships rise from the depths, water cascading from their armored surfaces like artificial waterfalls. The vessels are enormous, many larger than Zarek's flagship. Impossible, Zarek whispers, mandibles spread wide in shock. Commander Chen stands on the bridge of the EDS Leviathan as the massive ship completes its ascent. Through the reinforced viewports, she watches the ocean surface approach, then part as the Dreadnought breaks through into open air for the first time since its construction. Atmospheric transition complete, her executive officer reports. Hull integrity at 100%. All systems nominal. Chen nods. Deploy atmospheric stabilizers and prepare for vacuum transition. Outside, massive panels slide open along the Leviathan's hull, revealing specialized propulsion systems designed specifically for the water-to-air-to-space transition. Technology developed in secret over 7 decades. Status of the fleet? Chen asks. All 300 vessels reporting successful surface breach. Lieutenant Delir confirms. Synchronization is at 98% efficiency. The Arcanian Deep Fleet reports minor stabilization issues but is compensating. On her command display, Chen watches as hundreds of Earth vessels simultaneously rise from the planet's oceans. The sight is magnificent, a testament to human ingenuity and cooperation across nations that had once been bitter enemies but united in the face of extraterrestrial threat. Begin Phase 2, she orders. All vessels, initiate atmospheric ascent protocols. Weapons systems to standby. Let's show our visitors what Earth's true naval capacity looks like. Across the Confederation fleet, Alarm systems scream to life as targeting computers suddenly register hundreds of new contacts rising from the planet below. Frantic communications flood their networks as ship captains demand explanations and orders. Zarek stares at the tactical display in disbelief as it fills with red threat indicators. The humans had hidden their true military capability beneath the very oceans the Confederation coveted. Battle stations, he finally manages to order, his voice barely audible over the chaos erupting across his command deck. All ships, battle stations, impossible. Zarek hisses, mandibles spread wide in shock as the tactical display fills with new contact signatures. The vessels rising from Earth's oceans dwarf his largest cruisers, their hulls gleaming with water that rapidly freezes into crystalline patterns as they ascend through the atmosphere. Full analysis of human vessels, he demands, struggling to maintain composure before his increasingly panicked crew. Lieutenant Vexra's appendages tremble slightly as she reports. The human ships appear to be utilizing an unknown propulsion technology. Admiral, their hulls contain materials not previously documented in our encounters with Earth. The largest vessels are measuring at. This can't be right. Nearly 4 kilometers in length. 4 kilometers. Zarek's exoskeleton pales. His own flagship, the pride of the Confederation fleet, measures barely 2 kilometers from bow to stern. Confirmed, sir, Vexra responds. They're accelerating through the atmosphere at rates that suggest advanced inertial dampening. Our intelligence reports indicated humanity possessed nothing beyond primitive chemical rockets and experimental ion drives. Traldic approaches, his usual confident demeanor shaken. Admiral, we're receiving a directed transmission from the largest human vessel. They're requesting. He pauses, mandibles clicking in disbelief. A direct communication with you. Zarek stares at the tactical display, watching as the human vessels organize themselves into perfect defensive formations around their planet. 7 decades of intelligence gathering, rendered worthless in moments. The Confederation's most comprehensive invasion plan, collapsing before it truly began. Put them through, he finally orders. The main view screen shifts to display a human female in a dark blue uniform adorned with gold insignia. Her calm expression contrasts sharply with the chaos enveloping the Confederation command deck. Admiral Zarek, she begins, I am Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Perhaps you should have studied Earth's history more carefully before launching your invasion. Zarek recovers enough of his dignity to respond. Your deception violates galactic protocols of technological disclosure, Commander. The Confederation cataloged your species' capabilities extensively before initiating this necessary intervention. Commander Chen's expression doesn't change. Did you? Or did you catalog what we wanted you to see? She gestures to someone off-screen, and the transmission splits to show historical footage of Earth's oceanic warfare. Submarines gliding silently beneath the waves, aircraft carriers displacing thousands of tons of water. Humanity has fought its greatest battles on and under our oceans for centuries before we ever looked to the stars. Chen continues, while your observers monitored our modest space program, they failed to notice that we allocated 80% of our military resources to underwater development. A rather significant oversight, wouldn't you agree? The truth dawns on Zarek like a supernova. The Confederation intelligence had committed a catastrophic error, focusing exclusively on orbital infrastructure and visible shipyards. They never considered that a species from a water world would leverage their oceanic expertise for military advantage. We anticipated your arrival for decades. Admiral, Chen explains, her tone now educational rather than threatening. Your species' expansionist policies are well documented across 17 star systems. We study your tactical doctrines, your sensor technologies, your standard invasion protocols. Then we designed our entire defense strategy around your predictable behaviors. In the background, Zarek can hear his communications officer reporting frantically. Admiral, we're detecting advanced targeting systems locking onto our vessels from multiple human ships. On the view screen, Commander Chen continues calmly. The natural radiation shielding and pressure barriers of our deep oceans provided perfect cover for our shipyards. Your sensor technology, impressive as it is for vacuum operations, proved remarkably ineffective at penetrating our oceans beyond a few hundred meters. She leans forward slightly. You came expecting to find a primitive species barely capable of reaching their own moon. Instead, you found a civilization that chose to master the depths before reaching for the stars. Zorek's tactical officer interrupts with growing alarm. Admiral, the human vessels are establishing a complete defensive sphere around their planet. Multiple weapon systems are coming online, energy signatures unlike anything in our database. Your options are limited, Admiral Zorek. Commander Chen states matter-of-factly. You can retreat immediately, or you can witness firsthand why Earth's oceans have birthed the most effective predators in our planet's history. The Earth Dreadnoughts deploy with stunning precision, their massive hulls shedding the last of their oceanic moisture as they ascend through the upper atmosphere. Commander Chen watches from the Leviathan's bridge as her fleet executes the maneuvers they've practiced for years in the secret depths of Earth's oceans. All vessels report transition to vacuum operations complete. Lieutenant Delir announces, hydrospatial engines functioning at optimal capacity. Chen nods, studying the tactical display where the Confederation fleet hangs in disorganized clusters. Target their communication relays first, she orders. I want their command structure fragmented before we engage their combat vessels. Tactical Officer Maya Wong's fingers dance across her console with practiced efficiency. Targeting solutions acquired. Plasma torpedoes locked. Using ocean-harvested deuterium conversion. The weapons that fire from the Earth vessels bear little resemblance to conventional space armaments. Developed specifically for transition from underwater launch to vacuum deployment, they utilize water itself as conversion mass, producing yields far beyond what traditional vacuum-designed weapons can achieve with the same energy input. Brilliant blue-white projectiles streak across space, their trajectories baffling Confederation tracking systems calibrated for linear space combat. The torpedoes curve and accelerate in patterns that mimic deep ocean currents, approaching from multiple vectors simultaneously. Impact in 3, 2, 1. Wong counts down. Across space, the Confederation's primary communication relays erupt in silent explosions. Secondary command networks attempt to compensate, but Earth vessels have already adjusted their targeting priorities, systematically dismantling the alien fleet's coordination capabilities. Aboard the inevitable Conquest, Zorek watches in horror as his fleet's cohesion collapses. Establish secondary communication protocols. He barks. All vessels, form defensive formation Talon 7. His orders reach barely 30% of his fleet as Earth's electronic warfare systems, designed initially to operate through seawater, a far more challenging medium than vacuum, easily penetrate and disrupt the Confederation's communication bands. Admiral, his sensor officer reports, the human vessels are demonstrating movement patterns we cannot predict. Our targeting solutions are calculating at less than 20% accuracy. Zorek studies the tactical display with growing dread. The Earth vessels move in three-dimensional patterns unlike anything in Confederation naval doctrine. Where Confederation ships typically maintain relatively flat, geometric formations optimized for mutual defense, the human vessels operate in fluid, constantly shifting spherical groupings. They're using underwater predator tactics. Tralvik realizes aloud. Look at their attack vectors. They're mimicking oceanic hunting patterns. Indeed, the Earth fleet moves with the coordinated grace of a shark pack, smaller vessels flanking and herding Confederation ships toward the waiting weapons of larger dreadnoughts. Other human vessels execute maneuvers reminiscent of what humans call bubble netting, a hunting technique used by Earth's aquatic mammals to trap prey. Commander Chen allows herself a moment of satisfaction as the tactical display shows the first Confederation cruisers breaking formation, their engines flaring as they attempt to retreat. They're trying to regroup near their support vessels, Delir observes. Predictable, Chen responds. They're still thinking in terms of traditional space combat. Lieutenant Wong, signal the Kraken battle group to execute submersion pattern Delta. Across the battlefield, 12 Earth dreadnoughts suddenly adjust their formation, enveloping a cluster of Confederation vessels in a three-dimensional net of overlapping weapon ranges. The aliens find themselves caught in a perfect kill box, with no clear escape vector that doesn't cross multiple firing solutions. "We've trained for three-dimensional warfare our entire lives," Chen remarks to her bridge crew. "From the moment human ancestors first dove beneath the waves, we've understood that true naval combat occurs in all directions. The Confederation built their doctrine around the vacuum of space, but they forgot that even space has currents, eddies, and flows, if you know how to sense them." The Poseidon *, one of Earth's heavy assault vessels, demonstrates another shocking capability as it rotates its entire midsection, bringing specialized weapons to bear in a manner impossibly fluid for its size. The design, inspired by the flexible bodies of Earth's cephalopods, allows for targeting arcs that Confederation naval architects had never considered necessary. "All vessels, execute attack pattern Leviathan," Chen commands. "Show them how Earth's predators hunt." As the Confederation fleet scrambles to form defensive positions, they face a new threat. From the hangar bays of Earth's dreadnoughts, specialized boarding craft launch in coordinated waves. Unlike traditional space interceptors, these vessels move with an unsettling fluidity, their hulls designed with biomimetic principles borrowed from Earth's most efficient oceanic predators. Captain James Okonkwo stands in the deployment bay of the EDS Leviathan, performing final checks on his pressure suit. Around him, 50 elite Marines prepare for boarding operations, their armor a technological marvel of adaptation. Each suit functions equally well in crushing ocean depths, atmospheric conditions, or the vacuum of space, the culmination of decades of research into multi-environment combat systems. Mantis Team, final equipment check. Okonkwo orders, his voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Americatri, responds promptly. "All systems green, Captain." Polymer muscle layers responsive. Oxygen reclamation at optimal levels. Gravity compensation modules calibrated. Okonkwo nods, scanning the deployment bay where his Marines stand ready. Each soldier has trained in Earth's deepest oceanic trenches, mastering movement in high-pressure, three-dimensional environments. The transition to zero-gravity combat came naturally to warriors accustomed to thinking in terms of buoyancy and fluid dynamics rather than simple up-down orientation. "Remember your training," he tells his team over the squad channel. The Confederation vessels are designed with minimal internal compartmentalization. They never expected to be boarded. Their doctrine emphasizes ship-to-ship combat exclusively. Use this to your advantage. The launch officer signals readiness, and Okonkwo leads his team into the boarding craft. The vessel, sleek, hydrodynamic, and deceptively small, can house 50 Marines in specialized deployment cradles. Its design allows for both underwater stealth approaches and space-based assault operations. As the craft launches, Okonkwo watches through the viewport as dozens of similar vessels depart from Earth dreadnoughts across the battlefield. Their target, the inevitable conquest, Zarek's command vessel. "Approach vector calculated," the pilot announces, deploying Nana's shield against point defense systems. The boarding craft accelerates, executing a series of unpredictable evasive maneuvers that would incapacitate anyone not conditioned for extreme pressure changes. For Okonkwo's Marines, trained in rapid pressure differential environments deep in Earth's oceans, the G-forces barely register. 30 seconds to contact, the pilot updates. Breach point identified. Hull composition analysis complete. Cutting tools calibrated. Okonkwo activates his helmet's tactical display. Just like the abyssal trench exercises, he tells his team as they prepare to cut through the alien hull. "Remember your buoyancy control training." The boarding craft makes contact with the Confederation flagship, magnetic clamps securing it against the alien vessel's hull. Specialized cutting tools, designed originally for underwater salvage operations in extreme pressure environments, slice through the alien alloy with surprising efficiency. Aboard the inevitable Conquest, Zarek receives increasingly desperate reports from throughout his vessel. Multiple hull breaches detected in sections 7 through 15. His security chief reports, mandibles clicking rapidly in distress. Internal sensors show human forces penetrating our primary command deck bulkheads. They're moving through our vessel with unexpected coordination. Zarek watches security footage with growing horror as the human boarding teams move with uncanny precision through his ship. Unlike Confederation Marines trained primarily for frontal assaults along corridors and passageways, the human soldiers utilize three-dimensional tactics, moving through maintenance shafts, air circulation systems, and even exterior hull sections to outflank his defenders. They're approaching the main engine control systems, his tactical officer warns, and another team is advancing toward the bridge. Our security forces cannot establish effective containment. Meanwhile, Earth's diplomatic corps transmits evidence to the Galactic Senate proving the Confederation's unprovoked aggression. The transmissions include detailed logs of human surveillance operations that had monitored Confederation intelligence gathering for decades, revealing how humanity had intentionally projected weakness to expose Zarek's expansionist agenda. Senator Thal of the Peaceful Andromedan Alliance reviews the evidence with growing outrage. The humans deliberately baited the Confederation. She observes to her aides. They presented themselves as vulnerable precisely to document Zarek's violation of galactic law regarding non-aggressive contact protocols. As Okonkwo's Marines secure the flagship's engine room, he transmits a simple message to Commander Chen. Phase 1 complete. The Predator has become the prey. Admiral Zarek stares at the tactical display with growing desperation. His flagship's engine control systems have been compromised by human boarding parties. 3 of his cruisers have been disabled, and communication with nearly 40% of his fleet remains severed. What had begun as a routine conquest operation has deteriorated into the greatest military disaster in his long career. All remaining vessels, he orders through emergency channels, regroup above the planet's northern hemisphere. Form defensive formation Talon 9. His plan is desperate but logical, to use his fleet's still superior numbers in a concentrated counterattack against the human vessels that have spread themselves around the planet. The Confederation ships that receive his transmission begin moving toward the rallying point, abandoning their previous formations in favor of a mass defensive cluster. Zarek watches with a momentary flicker of hope as nearly 60 warships manage to regroup under his command. Target the largest human vessel once our formation is complete, he instructs his weapons officer. If we can eliminate their command ship, we may still regain the initiative. Aboard the EDS Leviathan, Commander Chen observes the Confederation's regrouping maneuver with a calculated smile. They're still thinking in terms of traditional naval formations. She comments to her tactical officer. Standard concentration of force doctrine. Lieutenant Delader nods in agreement. Exactly as the simulation predicted. They're positioning for a mass counterattack, using their numerical advantage. Chen activates the fleet-wide command channel. All vessels in quadrants 2 and 4 prepare for oceanic transition. Quadrants 1 and 3 maintain orbital engagement. Oceanic transition. Zarek's science officer repeats in confusion as their sensors detect unusual energy signatures from multiple human vessels. Admiral, the human ships are diving back into the atmosphere. Zarek watches in disbelief as nearly half of Earth's dreadnoughts suddenly alter course, descending rapidly toward the planet's surface. Are they retreating? He asks, mandibles clicking in confusion. Negative, Admiral. His sensor officer responds. They're maintaining active weapon systems, and they're accelerating. Their trajectory suggests deliberate re-entry into the planet's oceans. The Earth dreadnoughts demonstrate their revolutionary capability, what human engineers had designated phase transition propulsion. The vessels plunge back into the atmosphere at precisely calculated angles, their specialized hulls designed to withstand both the heat of re-entry and the pressure of oceanic immersion. All vessels, prepare for oceanic insertion. Chen orders calmly. Activate hydrodrive systems upon submersion. Target coordinates are locked into your navigation systems. The massive ships streak through Earth's atmosphere like artificial meteors, trailing ionized particles as they descend. Upon reaching the ocean surface, they do not stop or slow. Instead, they pierce the water like massive spears, their specialized hulls seamlessly transitioning from atmospheric flight to underwater propulsion. Beneath the waves, the vessels activate their hydrodrive systems, propulsion technology that functions with remarkable efficiency in liquid environments. Using the planet's own currents and thermal layers to boost their velocity, the Earth ships travel through the oceans at speeds that would shatter conventional hulls. Zarek receives the next sensor update with increasingly evident panic. Admiral, we're detecting the human vessels emerging from the planet's oceans on the opposite side of their entry points. They've used the planet itself to outflank our position. Indeed, the Earth Dreadnought surface on the far side of the planet, behind the Confederation's hastily formed defensive cluster. Having traversed thousands of kilometers through Earth's oceans in minutes, they now rise to orbital positions directly behind Zarek's forces. How are they navigating planetary transition so quickly? Zarek demands, his composure finally breaking. His science officer responds with reluctant admiration. Their ships are designed for both environments from inception. Admiral, while we build space vessels, they built ocean vessels capable of space combat. The difference is fundamental. Chen observes the tactical display with satisfaction as her fleet completes the encirclement maneuver. Earth's battle doctrine, incorporating centuries of submarine warfare strategy, has systematically dismantled the Confederation's defensive formations. Prepare targeting solutions, she orders. All vessels, establish overlapping fields of fire. Admiral Zarek has just discovered why Earth's submarine commanders always said that the best position in naval warfare is directly behind your enemy. Zarek stares at his tactical display in horror as it fills with red threat indicators from all directions. The Confederation fleet, positioned to launch a concentrated forward attack, now finds itself surrounded, with weapons locked on them from every conceivable angle. How could we have miscalculated so severely? He whispers. His executive officer, Tralvik, displaying unusual philosophical depth, responds quietly, perhaps because we believed mastery of space was the pinnacle of naval achievement, Admiral. These humans mastered three-dimensional warfare in their own oceans long before they reached for the stars. With his flagship's engines crippled, weapons systems offline, and surrounded by Earth vessels that outmatch his remaining forces in both positioning and firepower, Admiral Zarek faces the unimaginable defeat at the hands of a species he had dismissed as primitive mere hours earlier. The bridge of the inevitable conquest falls silent as the crew awaits his decision. Admiral, his communications officer speaks hesitantly. We're receiving a transmission from the human command vessel. Zarek straightens his posture, determined to maintain dignity even in defeat. On screen, he orders. Commander Chen appears on the view screen, her expression firm but not vindictive. The human's composure in victory somehow makes the defeat more difficult to accept. Admiral Zarek, she begins, this conflict can end now. We offer terms. Zarek expects humiliation, territorial demands, or worse, the complete surrender of his fleet to be paraded before the Galactic Senate as trophies. He braces himself for harsh conditions. I'm listening, Commander, he responds, mandibles tight against his face in what his species recognizes as resolute acceptance of fate. Immediate withdrawal of all Confederation forces from Earth space. Chen begins. Recognition of Earth's sovereignty and territorial boundaries extending to the heliopause of our solar system. Non-aggression pact lasting no less than 50 standard years. Zarek's antennae twitch in surprise at the relatively modest demands. And our damaged vessels. We will permit repair teams to restore minimal propulsion capabilities under our supervision. No weapons systems will be reactivated within our territory. The Admiral studies the human commander, searching for the trap in these unexpectedly reasonable terms. You offer no demand for technology transfer. No reparations. Chen's expression softens slightly. We propose technological exchange rather than one-sided reparations. Your atmospheric processing systems would benefit our terraforming projects on Mars. In exchange, we could share our hydrodynamic propulsion research, which might improve your fleet's efficiency by approximately 20%. Zarek's science officer, normally reserved, cannot contain her surprise. You would willingly share your propulsion technology after we attempted to conquer your world. We're not interested in crippling the Confederation, Chen explains. Destabilizing your government would only create a power vacuum that someone else would fill, perhaps someone worse. We prefer the devil we know, Admiral. The pragmatism of the humans is both admirable and unsettling to Zarek. During the negotiation, Chen activates a secondary display showing Earth's true technological achievements. Underwater cities 10 kilometers along the ocean floor, geothermal energy farms harvesting power from undersea volcanic vents, and massive shipyards built into dormant undersea volcanoes, with construction capacity far beyond what the Confederation had estimated. We developed in directions your surveillance couldn't detect, she explains. Earth's surface civilization is just the beginning of our story. Zarek studies the images with growing comprehension. Your species prioritized oceanic development over space exploration. We prioritize mastering our native environment before reaching outward, Chen corrects, a philosophy that served us well, as today's events have demonstrated. As the terms are finalized, Zarek poses the question that has been gnawing at him since the negotiation began. Commander Chen, your forces have my fleet at your mercy. You could demand far more severe concessions. Why offer such reasonable terms? Chen's response comes after a thoughtful pause. Because true strength includes knowing when not to destroy your opponent. Our studies of galactic history show that excessive punitive measures after conflicts typically lead to future wars. Earth wants peaceful neighbors, not conquered territories or festering enemies. Zarek considers this, reminded of his own civilization's history. How the harsh subjugation of the Proximan colonies had led to centuries of insurgency that drained Confederation resources. Perhaps these humans possessed wisdom that went beyond their technological innovations. There is something else, Admiral, Chen adds. Our intelligence suggests that within the Confederation political structure, you have advocated for exploration-based expansion rather than conquest. Your more aggressive approach to Earth appears to have been influenced by certain factions within your government. The accuracy of this assessment sends a chill through Zarek's exoskeleton. The humans had not only studied Confederation military tactics, but had infiltrated enough of their communication channels to understand internal political dynamics. We believe, Chen continues, that a chastened but still influential Admiral Zarek might become an advocate for more peaceful approaches to expansion within your government. Sometimes, the right defeat can be more valuable than a victory. As the negotiation concludes, Zarek realizes that the human strategic thinking extends far beyond the battlefield. They had not just won a military engagement, they were already positioning pieces for the diplomatic challenges to come. We accept your terms, Commander, Zarek finally responds, recognizing that the humans had outmaneuvered his civilization in every conceivable dimension. 6 months after what galactic historians now call the Surface Day, Earth prepares for a momentous occasion. The massive underwater city of Atlantica, humanity's true capital hidden beneath the mid-Atlantic for over 50 years, opens its pressure doors to welcome the first official diplomatic delegation from the Galactic Senate. Zarek, no longer an admiral, but now serving as the Confederation's diplomatic attaché to Earth, stands in the observation chamber of the diplomatic submarine as it descends through crystal blue waters. Around him, representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations press against viewports, their expressions, regardless of physiological differences, universally displaying wonder. We are now passing the 500-meter depth marker, announces the human pilot, her voice calm, and professional. The outer illumination ring of Atlantica will become visible momentarily. As if responding to her words, the deep blue darkness below them gradually transforms. First, a faint glow appears in the distance. Then, as the submarine descends further, the light resolves into a vast circular pattern stretching across the ocean floor. A metropolis of underwater domes, arcologies, and research facilities spanning nearly 30 kilometers in diameter. "Remarkable," whispers Senator Thal of the Andromedan Alliance, her translucent tentacles shifting color in what her species expresses as profound admiration. They built all this while maintaining the illusion of being primarily a surface civilization. Zarek nods, still processing his own complex emotions about humanity. The Confederation government had collapsed shortly after their failed invasion, its aggressive expansionist policies thoroughly discredited. The new provisional government had prioritized diplomatic reconciliation, with Zarek, one of the few high-ranking officials with both military experience and moderate political views, selected as their representative. "The humans have a saying," he responds to Thal. "Still waters run deep. I never truly appreciated its meaning until now." The submarine docks at an enormous transparent tube extending from Atlantica's central hub. As the airlock cycles, Earth's diplomatic team awaits them, led by none other than Commander, now Ambassador, Sarah Chen. "Welcome to Atlantica," she greets the delegation. For most of human history, this city existed only in legend, a mythical civilization beneath the waves. Now it serves as both symbol and center of humanity's true development path. The tour that follows reveals humanity's underwater civilization in all its glory. Vast agricultural domes utilize specialized algae and genetically optimized kelp forests to produce oxygen and food. Manufacturing sectors harness the extreme pressure of the deep ocean to create materials impossible to forge on the surface. Research laboratories study the unique biological adaptations of deep-sea creatures, incorporating their evolutionary innovations into new technologies. In the city's central council chamber, Earth's Unified Defense Command hosts a formal reception. Holographic displays showcase how Earth's revolutionary hydrospatial engineering has already begun transforming galactic technology. Confederation ships retrofitted with human-designed propulsion systems now consume 30% less fuel while achieving 15% greater speeds. Zarek finds himself standing before a massive aquarium where genetically unmodified deep-sea creatures swim in their natural habitat. Chen approaches, standing beside him in companionable silence as they watch a squad of squid maneuver with fluid grace through the water. "Your vessels mimic their movement patterns," Zarek observes. "The way your dreadnoughts rotated their weapon systems, it was based on cephalopod biomechanics." Chen nods. "Earth evolved over 4 billion years as a water world. Our greatest innovations have always come from studying the solutions evolution already perfected in our oceans." Zarek hesitates, then asks the question that has haunted him since his defeat. "Your civilization could have expanded to other star systems decades ago, with your level of technology. Why remain focused on Earth and its oceans for so long?" "Because we recognize something your civilization overlooked," Chen replies. "Sustainable expansion requires mastering your cradle world first. We've seen too many species rush to the stars before solving their own planetary challenges, only to replicate their problems across multiple worlds. Around them, the diplomatic gathering represents the beginning of a new era. Human engineers now work alongside alien scientists, developing hydrospatial technologies that revolutionize everything from medical stasis systems to faster-than-light navigation. Earth's underwater academies host students from across the galaxy, training a new generation in three-dimensional strategic thinking. The species that learns to thrive in the depths of their cradle world will never be limited by the vastness of space." Zarek quotes from his own recently published memoirs, which had become unexpectedly popular across the Confederation worlds. Chen smiles. "A rising tide lifts all ships, Admiral." As they look out over the gathered representatives of galactic civilization, Zarek understands the profound truth in the human saying. Earth's emergence had indeed changed the course of galactic development, not through conquest or dominance, but by revealing new depths of possibility that benefited all species willing to learn from them. Humanity had not simply defended their world, they had transformed the galaxy's understanding of what civilization could achieve when it mastered its native environment, before reaching for the stars.